Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Women will put themselves in the path of a select man. Now, you know what? There's always the debate about choosing signals versus cold approach. Choosing signals. Like choosing signals obvious. You know, the woman smiling at you, she looking at you and everything. And you still have to approach. Versus cold approach, she is giving no indication that she's interested. But there's a choosing signal that she does that's not as obvious to the uninitiated. But if you're a guy out here who's getting a lot of women, this has probably happened to you. And I'll give you two examples. I learned this way back in the day. Like I had a very good friend of mine, female friend. And like I said, you know, as an aside, there's nothing wrong with having women friends. They'll give you more game. Any true player knows that. Always have few women you ain't tapping. They will give you more. That's like having a spy in the enemy's camp. They'll tell you some stuff. They even tell you about which women are checking you out. So always have a couple, no matter where you go. Have that woman who's going to be open with you. So she was telling me about this guy that she had been going out with for a long time. He would, this was up by American University, and the second story is at American University too, when I was there. And she was saying she lived in this apartment building and that was near the school. And she could look out a window. She saw this guy always walking up the street at a certain time. And she saw him for at least a month walking. He is always the same time. She purposely put herself in his path. She walked out. She purposely put herself in his path. She timed him. She clocked him. And, you know, of course, he approached her. She's like, oh, okay. And then another story, when I was at American, saw this woman sitting on the bench. I hadn't seen her. It was like my second year there. I approached her, we went out. Later on, we would go out. And nothing came for the day, but then we would hook up again about a year later. And that lasted a while. But I remember she told me specifically, not the first time around, second time around, said, oh yeah, because we were talking about how we met and everything. And she was just like, I knew about you for a year before we actually met. You had a little reputation. I was like, what? Look, let me tell you something with women. And they real slick with it. Because I had a friend of mine, good friend of mine, she told me something the other day. I ain't gonna mention who she was. I hope she don't get mad I share this. But I'm trying to help y'all guys out. She said she'll be in the gym. She see a guy she likes, she'll go over there and work out near. In fact, fellas in the gym, fellas who actually employing body game, put a 1 in the comments if you ever be at the gym and it seemed like some woman is working out next to you or something, or coming close. I remember one time I was stretching at the gym. I was just stretching. It was like the after workout thing, rolling out my back and everything. A woman came over there and was asking me about something, some piece. So I forgot what it was exactly. And I said something. She's smiling and stuff, and this was actually before the pandemic lockdown. And I remember looking, I was like, there were about 3 other men in between us that she could have just asked right there. She came all the way past them. Look, here's the thing with women. They slick with it. Because first of all, they always looking for select men. Women always checking out men. Don't think they ain't not doing it. In fact, Cousin T-Tall talked about it in his book, The Seduction Scriptures. I'm gonna put a link for it in the description box. Cousin T-Tall talked about it. This is a guy who he's trained in seduction. He trains men in seduction because he trains male exotic dancers. And as he said in it, women saw you from down the street. Women saw you from down the street, and they'll check you out, decide where you fit in a category, or, they might even cross the street. I remember one woman I met in downtown DC. Now, I ain't big on approaching, but when a woman is walking fast, she look back at you and then all of a sudden she keep ahead, but she starts slowing down. She wants you to catch up to her. Seriously. They walk slow something. You know, now that's a choosing signal. Like, just pay attention. Like in the gym. Like I said, the guys in the gym, y'all probably got some stories about you working out on a machine. They got other machines, or you stretching or something. The woman just gotta stretch out next to you. It's something like that. That's choosing. They don't say a word to you, don't even look at you. But then if you say, hey, how you doing? Boom. And I found that out accidentally too. There'd be plenty of women I would see be in school or on a normal basis. They wouldn't look at me, wouldn't say a word. You know, I would get the initial vibe, the uninitiated vibe that they ain't interested. But then I would say, let me say something anyway. All of a sudden they chatty boobalatties. And that's one of the things, because they always checking out men. Women always on the prowl. They always looking. Always looking. See, a lot of guys think they're just passive, or a lot of guys just too caught up in when they've been rejected by the woman. Oh no. Now you still gotta make the move and everything, but don't think it's not always a cold approach. Cause you never know. You never know. You just never know. That's actually a prominent game by women. See, women understand that men in general need to feel like they the ones making the move and stuff. But the women always had the plan. She always knew. Malcolm X talked about that in the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I've told that story before. Anybody read it, see it. He thought he was controlling everything with Betty, but then got married to her. And they at the reception, and her and her girlfriends are looking at her and say, yeah, you got him. Shoot. It's like this saying from, I think it was from the book, The Manipulated Man. I forgot who wrote it. Who wrote that book, Esther something. But it's either from there, but if it's not from there, it's a definite thing. Men chase a woman until she catches them. Think about that. Look, if you select, women go into seductive mode. They go into seductive mode. And women got game. Let me say something about that. A lot of guys be saying, oh, I don't need game, and that's crazy. As I always say, women been running that game since they were babies, since they figured if they cried a certain way, that man they would call daddy would come a running. They learn it from their mothers. What the pimps do is pimps recognize it, and true players recognize it. All they do is just turn it on the woman. But they running it. They already know. You watch kids in, I remember one time I was with my family, my co-parent, my two sons, and they were still young. They were still young. Like the youngest one, he had just started walking. He was a toddler. Of course, he never really crawled. Me and his co-parent cannot remember if he actually crawled. He's like one of those kids, he got up, walked a bit far, and just kept doing it. I cannot remember him crawling. But whatever the case, we in this restaurant. It was Everlasting Life in Capitol Heights, Maryland. This is called E-Life now, vegan restaurant. And we sitting at a table eating. This little girl came walking over towards him. In fact, I remember when we were living in Edgewood, Maryland, some little girl came over. Hey, can your son come out and play? She knocking on the window, looking in. I'm like, little girls have it. See, they have it when they're young. Shoot, my oldest son, I remember I'm taking him to a playground, 4 years old. All of a sudden, he hugged up with this girl. And the little girls like grabbing him around and everything. He just sitting back chilling. They do that. But then what happens is they get older and, some older women say, you know what, you got to let him think he doing something. All right. And they still haven't changed. They'll put themselves in your vicinity, reach out to you, they'll do something. And then act surprised when you holler at them. Like, oh, sure. They know they've been playing. They call up their girlfriends like, I got him. Shoot, they trap. They laid a trap. Master Yao would call it their honeybee spell. They lay it out. Chris Rock joked about it. He joked about it in a concert. He said, if a woman want a man, she just got to put a pot on the stove at 6 o'clock. Plenty of men will come a running. Look, but they will put themselves in the path. They will just, seriously, that's just a woman's nature. It's not even a code. You think it is a code approach. Oh no, that's just another choosing signal. And like either way, you got to still approach, even if it's a blatant choosing signal, you still got to approach in most cases. And indeed, I had an interview with this young lady named Bridney, and I'll put a link in the description box. She was laying out what women to do. She called it breadcrumbs. You know, they'll come in the aisle, everything. Just check out that interview. She was laying it out. They always doing it. So if you recognize that, boom. All right. So anyway, that's all I have for now, y'all. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.